Is September 29th, 2023, and this is the Wrestling Inc. Podcast, SmackDown. We're like a week out from Fastlane. No Mercy is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill is coming to WWE. It was exciting tonight. I think that kind of confirmed the main roster. Not that I think anyone really thought she was going to be in NXT.
I'm with you. I would say main roster, but because Becky was holding that title, it seemed to be very transitionary. I was like, I'll be okay if Jade came and like dominated and took that title to Raw. But yes, I would have her on the main roster instantaneously. And they gave her the superstar treatment, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, without even debuting, they've done things like that before, maybe on, some athlete, but typically it's like, oh, Ronda Rousey showed up at the end of the Royal Rumble, and now we're going to talk about the press. But the fact that they did this press, they amplified this press, it's a unique way for them to announce that they signed somebody. So, it's cool though, man. And I'm looking forward to No Mercy. So I'm Glenn, here with you as always on Friday nights. Flobo Boyce back. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. The Friday night delight, hanging with the Glenn. I kind of missed the Kangol hat, man. That was like a thing.
Yeah, I got a haircut.
Okay, give it up. I mean, I'm jealous. Yeah. I haven't had one of those in like 15 years. But
and she didn't even do it all with the razor. This is scissor cut all on the top.
Man is balling right now. He's getting scissor cuts out there. But
I know. You think normally like a fade, you can cut that in like 10 minutes if you're scaled. But no, she went full scissor with it. And it was crazy.
Earn them tips.
Yeah, right, man. Please, everyone, tip your stylist. If you go to Supercuts or Great Clips or Fantastic Sam's or your local barbershop, do you know what people spend at high-end salons for a haircut that's really not much better
than
what you're getting at your local haircut place? And you'll make their day if you give them a nice tip.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're here tonight to talk about everything that's going on. A little bit of news. We'll talk about the full card for No Mercy, which is tomorrow. I decided not to go. I was going to drive to Bakersfield. I was even going to be like, maybe I'll hit up WWE PR. Maybe I'll try and like see if I can grab some interviews. Maybe I'll do this. And then I was like, hey man, I got an electric car and it's still like 2 charging stops.
Wait, how far is it from you?
5 hours.
Oof. Yeah, I got you.
And I'm like, I'd probably have to leave tonight to be there tomorrow to do press during the day. And then I got to be back Sunday. I'd probably go back Sunday, but Sunday night I got the podcast with Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, Gigantic Pop. Check it out.
Oh, man, man's flexing out here.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm just going to stay home and watch No Mercy. But to that end, we might have some, if Jade Cargill showed up after Becky's match with Tiffany Stratton and challenged Becky, wouldn't hate that.
No, I wouldn't either. That's how you make it happen. I mean, No Mercy, I'm not going to say it's a weak card because I think the NXT show as a product has come by leaps and bounds and it could be dragging on its coming out party. But just with NXT 2.0 or 3.0 or 2.0 plus that goes on the road, they don't really get the ticket sales. So like I'm trying to get up there. I have to work in the morning. So
it's pretty sold through for tomorrow. I mean, but there was some surprising stuff. Like you can get 3rd and 4th seats from the ramp.
That's my point. Like they deserve like sell out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean the product's hot, but it's not that hot. As Dylan saying, can't handle the bright lights of Bakersfield. Have you ever seen Bakersfield built up as much as NXT has been building up the city of Bakersfield for No Mercy?
They had to. They said California. I think everyone dragged them, and they were like, okay, it's actually Bakersfield. but no one picks up that. What Kern
Come
County?
For No Mercy. Stay for a spirited debate about Central Valley water rights.
Oof, that's deep cut.
If you drive the 5 or the 99, you see the signs. If you drive from LA, stop off at Buttonwillow McKittrick, my favorite named exit on the 5 freeway.
Is it like a restaurant or?
No. It's an exit that says Buttonwillow McKittrick.
Oh, okay. So you never ventured out there.
Yeah. I mean, no, and I've always wanted. One day I will. So let's talk about the No Mercy card in a minute. But first, Wrestling Inc. has a story. AEW's Britt Baker praises Adam Cole's toughness after freak accident injury. Broke his ankle in 3 places on a freak accident.
I'm at that age where freak accidents are the worst kind of injuries. It's never like, oh, car accidents. Like I coughed the wrong way, but it just so breaks my heart that Adam Cole is on AEW. Some cynical people would say WWE sold high, but it's just been so many injuries back to back for someone who's pretty much slotted in the best story on that brand. And I hope he recovers quickly for sure.
No, I hope he gets better soon. Can run down the No Mercy card also before we get into SmackDown. Look, SmackDown was good tonight. A lot of really good matches. Fastlane feels like, well, this is the best pay-per-view we can put together.
You know that meme that shows you like the horse that's like well shaded in the first quarter and then it becomes like line art towards the end? I mean, this is the same year we had Bad Bunny at Backlash, the biggest WrestleMania of all time, but the Payback and now Fastlane just seems kind of like WWE circa 2020. You know what I mean? Something's missing. I'm not sure what that is.
It feels very familiar. It feels like a very familiar live event. Even this triple threat with Charlotte and Asuka and we'll talk about that. So yeah, I think No Mercy tomorrow. I'm going to be watching it from home. I think it's going to be an amazing show. I thought the go home was so hot Tuesday. I was bummed the ratings were down. Becky wasn't there. They added Blair Davenport versus Kalani Jordan as a singles match just to warm up the show. We've got Noam Dar versus Butch for the NXT Heritage Cup. Carmelo Hayes defends his NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov. Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin. And given how intense that's been lately, I almost wonder if that peaked too soon with throwing through the wall last week. Like, how are they going to top that during a regular match?
I think they kind of have to because you have Carmelo's weird bout with lack of confidence before. And then you have a lot of people who aren't on the same level. Blair Davenport, someone's kind of like hanging out in the women's division. She's supposed to be a threat. It's not really considered a threat. She needs to do a lot of things. And so you give me that main roster / NXT matchup. I think that could be your show stealer. And maybe the one that opens the card.
They gave Blair the most like cherry on top of a Sunday gimmick setup, given how infamous the NXT parking lot is for attacks and how much it was with the women's division. So having her be like, I'm behind it. But aside from taking credit for it, like attacking Gigi Dolan, I don't know. I feel like they could go deep with this. They should have like shown like reenactments with like, recently uncovered footage. Oh, or done like Court TV and had like reenactments.
QTV, what?
Wouldn't that wait, but think about that for a second. What if they were like, Blair Davenport, this match is going to be your trial, and they were presenting like, here's a reenactment, and they get like a really bad reenactment of like the Nikhil Lyons attack, the Sol Ruka attack, with like women that look barely anything like the ones that were actually involved.
So she gets off on a technicality.
No, but I'm just saying, like they could do some really fun stuff with this. It's a fun storyline. And I just feel it's like, I'm crazy. I attack people. Like, that's her gimmick.
Yeah, I don't get Blair, man. Like, I don't believe you for a second because you got folded in half by Roxanne Perez. Like, and we'll talk about Rey Mysterio later on, but Roxanne has a very Rey Mysterio approach to her matches, but you got beat up pretty badly. So I don't believe it. And I know gimmicks can change and shift. There's always a moment where a competitor gets stomped out, like Braun Strowman's against Roman Reigns or Cesaro when he was facing Seth Rollins, where I go, oh, they're done. And it's so I'm saying this match against Kalani Jordan is on the pre-show, but it's a must win for Davenport.
Yeah, absolutely. They gotta bolster her pedigree right now with some wins. We're gonna have the family versus Out the Mud, Creed Brothers, and Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
I'm not sure what I make of Out the Mud. I don't think those guys will hang out with Scripps 1 second, but
okay, I was gonna say like if we hadn't had the Scripps that we had a year ago,
Scripps,
like I can see during that breakup they could probably roast him pretty good.
I just Bronco and Evolution Price. Okay, they seem. We've seen it before, so not in a bad way. That's what we're here for. But was I hanging out with Scripps? I'm like, they would have beat guys like that up. Like, why would I don't buy it for a second? And the moment of was I think that's Anima going Out the Mud. It's so cheesy. I hope they do well. I hope they really show out.
They're high on them though. I mean, they gave them that vignette. They got added to this match. Like they don't have the resume that these other teams have of establishment. But I think. They're my sleeper pick for this match because I think why else are they there? I mean, it's not like there's a lack of tag teams in NXT. I mean, Chase U's not doing anything.
Absolutely. I think there's a very concerted effort to bolster up the powerhouse tag team division. Even if you see on Level Up, a lot of tag teams are pretty beefy men as well. So I think that's what it is. Maybe Dusty Classics on the horizon. But I do hope they're the team that doesn't win, but really goes, hey, you're on the map. You're invited to the party. Quite literally, I guess.
Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Trick Williams. With Mustafa's release, I think they're pulling the trigger on the Trick Carmelo storyline with this match, and then Carmelo's slip of the tongue. I think Carmelo's going to retain, and we get Carmelo and Trick at Deadline.
You're thinking like unification match, or you?
No. I think we get a feud with the two of them. And actually, I guess they could probably do it if Carmelo lost to Ilya, but I don't know, man. Like, I think there's real money in these guys going against each other.
I like it, and I know that long-term storytelling tends to be reserved for MJF for the bloodline, but I like Trick Williams' slow burn. He says he's going on the zone, he get those wins. I mean, he is arguably the most over person, even more over than Carmelo Hayes right now with the whoop that Trick and Trick going to hit your stuff. So I would love to have that be a stand and deliver culmination for months and months and months. But if you got a hot shot it, great. But what happens after that?
I mean, I think Carmelo is going to the main roster.
So was Braun a year ago, but he's still there.
Yeah, actually, Braun's like a 5th-year senior now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if Braun doesn't go after this, like, kid's got problems.
Well, we'll get to that later, but I almost forgot about Cameron Grimes. He went to the main roster
right?
last year too. I was like, oh yeah, he's employed.
But they waited too long. It's like, you gotta go with the momentum. I mean, this thing with Baron has been good, but then we have Tiffany Stratton versus Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship, and I think until they get those TV rights re-signed, like, I think Becky needs to stay in NXT.
Absolutely. It's a sweeps move. I'm not the biggest Tiffany Stratton supporter, but I didn't quite understand the Becky coming down to beat Tiffany Stratton because it was very clear that she was outclassed. But you know what? If I'm trying to move a product, yes, you give me all the eyes. You give me all the main roster appearances, all you want. I kind of wish Tiffany got her title back, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. But, I could see Tiffany getting called up as well. So
really?
Yeah, I think, it's the sort of gimmick Vince always likes. There's no female on the roster doing that character right now. I think the closest thing was Carmella, and she's out for maternity. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like the thing to me that gimmick, it's cool that she can wrestle, and I think she's improved greatly, and I think her promos are getting there. But that just seems like the kind of gimmick that the main like Vince and his cohorts, that seems like that's their jam. Like, they like that sort of gimmick.
I just don't want her to go the way of Xia Li or Shotzi, where it's like, oh yeah, I remember her just coming out every couple of weeks and then fading away again. But hey, look, you gave her the rocket. You tell me she's the future. How about you bring up the main roster and prove it week in and week out?
Yeah, we'll see, man. But yeah, tomorrow, No Mercy. It's going to be a hell of a pay-per-view. I'm going to be watching on Peacock live and probably tweeting along. So check it out.
I have a question for you, Glenn.
Yeah, please.
What's been your take on the Butch in name only iteration of Pete Dunne on Tuesdays? Because he has to flip flop between Tuesdays and Fridays.
I know. I think if they're keeping him in NXT, I think he goes back to Pete Dunne. I don't think it makes sense for the Brawling Brutes and that brand that they've built up to change the character name. Like, when they do a name change, there's normally like a big push or reason behind it, and unless they're going to make him a singles act, which I don't think they are. Like, the Brawling Brutes are like, I don't know, they're like quality enhancement talent on the main roster.
Yeah, job with the stars.
Yeah, right. But I don't know. I think he's probably got another singles run in him. Hopefully they change the name back for that. But I don't know, this Butch thing, I mean, it's silly, but thankfully WWE has made so many more bad decisions since then that I think we've all just kind of begrudgingly accepted it.
I haven't, but I hear you. I agree.
Yeah. Like it's easy to get, it's funny when it's like, oh, I'm really upset about this and annoyed by this. And then it's like, oh, they did something else. Oh, they did something else. Oh, Nia Jax is back. Like, there's just so many things to ponder, I'm
a Nia fan. I'm the only one that planned it. I get it.
No, I mean, it's interesting that she's back.
It's interesting.
It's an interesting break, because if you think about it, Triple H, when he was in charge for a short period of time, like, had the people that he wanted back in the company. And so it's interesting that like right after the Endeavor, like, and this isn't a time when they're bringing back people, like the comeback stopped. You know, I just think,
Right.
I mean, it's interesting. Is it, you know, it's interesting because it was kind of like out of nowhere.
Hey, I'm a big fan of heels that need to be booed. I'm tired of heels that are just, oh, they're such a heel. Make me hate you. And Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Nia Jax and even Baron Corbin, they do it.
Yeah. Man, I mean, we talked about this Tuesday. I think Dominic wins and retains, but Trick blames Carmelo for not coming out and helping him because we get some Judgment Day interference.
Okay.
But Dominic, I mean, man, if you look at the reaction Trick got the other night on NXT, Dominic retaining over Trick, like Dominic's just gonna keep reaching the stratosphere of new levels of heat.
I'm hoping Bakersfield tells whoever needs to be told that the road likes Trick. And I have another podcast where I talk about this stuff and I go, man, I when Trick debuted, I felt that it was so necessary. They didn't want to see Carmelo Hayes, the running buddy. They didn't want to see Carmelo Hayes heel. Carmelo Hayes is a giant baby face, but he has been so integral to what this new NXT is, the mix of the character and the development. Like, you got to make sure you buy it now. And this could be his coming out party, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about SmackDown tonight. We opened with Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. As this is happening, Raj Giri is texting me.
Hey, what's up, Raj?
Ideas for the next episode of Gigantic Pop. And I just want to point out that he just pitched the idea of covering the pairing of the movies They Live and The Princess Bride, which shows me that I have no clue what goes on in that beautiful mind of his.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
It's like They Live in The Princess Bride. Like,
wait, a comparison? Like,
no, like, because we were talking, I mean, we were talking about doing No Holds Barred and They Live.
Okay.
Weekend. All right. Because it makes sense, you know, timing wise, face and heel wise. And I was like, oh, no, we're going to talk about Rocky 3 and No Holds Barred, which is good. Yeah, it's just funny. Princess Bride and They Live. Yeah. Anyhow, tonight, Jimmy, Solo, Paul Heyman. It feels weird calling them the Bloodline. I just feel like without Roman, this is.
We were here last year and I poo-pooed on this and I'm going to poo-poo it on some more. This is the 2 weeks of this week and last week, the Bloodline development to me felt like a repeat beat on the Bloodline side, but on the, I guess the OC side, it makes even less sense, right? Because last week they were like, hey, AJ, don't deal with the Bloodline, but now Carl Anderson's mad and he wants to have a fight. And so Michin, okay, so Doc Gallows is injured, fine. AJ is still injured, fine. But Michin hangs out at catering. And then after it all comes out and slaps Jimmy. It's like, well, what side are you on? Do you want to hide and cover? Do you want to fight as a unified front? Like it has been flip-flopping in all the wrong reasons. And you might say, who cares, Flobo? It's the OC. We don't see them anymore, but you're the Bloodline. I don't know if it's Jimmy trying to be evil, or I don't know if it's him trying to press Roman. I need something to play off of, and we're not getting that from the OC.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of this whole thing was Paul Heyman referring to the playback of last week's beatdown of John Cena as the Bloodline Zapruder film. Which, you know, since the average age of the people watching WWE's product is over 50, it's a very topical reference.
Hey, well, Heyman's he's timeless.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, it's weird because I mean that happened. Zapruder got 6 weeks. 60 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Been that long?
Yeah, 1963. Mm-hmm. Hey, remember the time Joe Gacy went and got a promo on the grassy knoll at NXT?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They had to apologize on Fox News the next day.
But like, how far Joe Gacy has fallen.
I actually like that Joe Gacy. The whole tolerance thing, that was great.
Yeah, no, it was what Road Dogg, what Road Dogg thought a progressive was. It was like really it was so just like Funhouse Mirror. But yeah, now Joe Gacy's like, yeah, they gotta do something if he's gonna keep working. But anyhow, this confrontation between the Bloodline and the OC led to Jimmy Uso versus Carl Anderson, with Jimmy Uso winning pretty quickly.
Who asked for this? Like, I don't get it. Like, what? I don't get it. So Carl Anderson for weeks being like, hey, AJ, you shouldn't be fighting these guys. Finally mans up and gets beat so handily and quickly. Can the OC recover, right? Like if they ever came out as unified front, would I go, oh man, the OC's here? Or do I say, here's somebody that threw one slap, here's a guy that was injured, here's another guy that was injured, and there's a guy that got his ass beat at 8:05 p.m. Like, what?
I like Gallows and Anderson. I like Mia Yim. But if you take AJ Styles out of the equation, they treat the rest of the OC like they book them one notch below the Viking Raiders.
Even with AJ, like they moved to SmackDown, and I was like, okay, I forgot they were a thing. But when the Judgment Day became the de facto brand on all three, the OC were kind of in the back. Until that random time where Jimmy was haggling me chin, I had forgot they were there.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like this was a very weird start to the show, but then I think things got better with the Grayson Waller effect with Bobby Lashley as the guest.
I guess we're making Grayson Waller a thing. Okay, sure.
And he was pushing his tag team with Austin Theory that maybe Bobby Lashley should work with them. Like it was really setting up what we saw later in the night about Bobby's disappointment in the Street Profits, but this was fun.
Yeah. What's in the Street Profits' mind? Like, I understand Bobby being like, hey, guys, get serious. And the Street Profits want to impress Bobby. But they've been having fun and getting championships before. You haven't really told me why they want to change the philosophy. Because they, lost last week? But even before then, they were dressing like Bobby. So I wish there was more development there. But you know what? If Bobby Lashley has nothing else to do, he's being a manager now, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And then after this, we had Austin Theory versus Cameron Grimes, enhancement talent Cameron Grimes.
You know, I'm not the biggest Cameron Grimes fan, but I'll be remiss to tell you that that guy carried NXT on his back during the pandemic. Between that Haunted Horrors match or working with Ted DiBiase and LA Knight, Cameron Grimes deserved all the flowers. And they brought him up. I get it was a logjam bottleneck. Everyone was coming back with the Papa H era. I get that. But he comes out of absolutely nowhere and no fanfare. I'm not even sure if he's still rich anymore or just a guy in tights.
Now, they haven't mentioned that in a while.
No, but because crypto's dead, I guess. But then he totally gets like evaporated like a level 1 video game boss. I wonder, is he coming back or is that going to be just another, we'll see when we see you.
Cameron Grimes, don't answer your phone. I loved him with Ted DiBiase. Like he was so much fun in NXT. And then again, same thing. He stuck around too long. You cool off, and I think like HBK on his phone call this week was like, well, we don't, he was surprised by Mustafa Ali and Dana Brooke getting let go. He's told when people are getting called up, but I have a feeling with Cameron Grimes and probably with a fair amount of other talents, they get a feeling that they're going to be called up soon. So they cool creative on them thinking, oh, it's inevitable any day now. And they get stuck in this purgatory, which doesn't help them on the main roster.
I suppose it's been a very long track record, whether you mean from Lacey Evans to Xia Li to Sanity, but people having so many facets of a character shown and getting nothing to get moved to Fridays or Monday nights.
I mean, if I had it my way, just keep everyone in SmackDown or in NXT forever. Just everyone stays in NXT forever.
Yeah, two of the main.
But I think they want that main roster money. Dragon Lee was watching the action from the crowd.
Sure was. So it seems like there's still the great search for the luchador post Rey Mysterio. I get that.
Yeah.
I thought Santos was that guy. I mean, a year ago, he was at the LA WrestleMania event. I'll say give him all the flowers. He's not out of the equation. But Dragon Lee went from being an also-ran on NXT to being a guy on 3 different shows in the past 2 weeks. So what does that say? Is that the Rocket? Is that kind of like a big trial? I'm not so sure, but you're going to get a lot of Dragon Lee in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. They're clearly big on him. But Austin Theory beat Cameron Grimes. And then Theory got in Dragon Lee's face and shoved him. Lee shoved him back.
So what does that mean, Glenn? Unification match on the horizon, you think? NA, USA?
That'd be interesting. Jimmy Uso backstage attacked Ashante the Adonis. BFAB was there watching. Man, I feel so bad for Top Dollar.
Do you want him to get his ass beat too? Because that's what would happen.
At least these guys are employed.
Fair. But remember I told you like about a minute ago about when someone gets like stomped out and you're like, oh man, I can't buy into them. When LA Knight called that dude Uncle Phil, I couldn't unsee it. Like he would have to like wear a mask from now on. You know what I mean? Like
he could have made that his character.
Uncle Phil or wearing a mask.
No, like changing it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I'm down for I mean, he's talented and he's a good host.
He's very talented. Shows, he was a very good host, and he does these rap videos all over social media that never got on TV, never even got mentioned. I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder if he was on a more expensive. No, he wouldn't have been a more expensive contract when they brought him back originally, maybe because of the A&E thing. But
right.
No, it's strange. It's very strange. So we had Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar for the United States Championship in a multi-segment match. What did you think of the match, and what did you think of the outcome with Rey Mysterio retaining?
Match was solid. A little slower pace because that first ad break, I was like, oh, I guess that is a splash outside. Okay. But Rey Mysterio wins in the most Rey Mysterio way ever. This is what I was saying a little bit earlier. Like, look, he's the biggest, smallest, littlest champion, biggest champion of all time. But you can't get the whole oops win over everybody. Like, I know I'm nitpicking. Rey Mysterio is a legend. He could probably pin everyone with a single finger if he wanted to. He's earned that right. But I'm like, if you're really going to dispatch Santos Escobar, do it in a way that says, I'm the better man today. This felt kind of like, haha, gotcha. I'm still champ.
Yeah, it's a lot of storytelling for no real payoff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Santos should have won, but I like the match, but Santos should have won.
Absolutely. Are you? I mean, he's not a young person either. Like he's in his late 30s. No. Like you got to make a decision. Like, do you want him to be 5 years on top of your mid card, or are you going to have him just be an also ran? Because the longer the LWO goes on, that merger of equals has gone out the window. It does feel like Rey Mysterio and the boys, or the people, and it doesn't really matter. So I think Santos needs a dub.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting. I think there's probably an angle then to bring Dominic Mysterio back into the mix with Rey's like adopted son versus Dominic. It's a little bit of a retread, but I always pop for that. Because I mean, come on, when he was showing up at Rey's house and stuff, could you imagine if this year Thanksgiving he shows up at the Mysterio residence and Rey has Santos and the LWO there? Like Dominic, this would be great, dude. Like it's gold, man. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match. It's just feels like an anticlimactic payoff. But the Street Profits attacked both of them out of nowhere. And then Bobby Lashley made his way to the ring and applauded them for doing so.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If Bobby Lashley wants a mean streak, that's how you do it. Beating up Rey Mysterio. It worked for Veer Mahan. I get it. But what I don't understand is like, what does Bobby want? Them to be champs? Them to run roughshod? Them to take out another faction like the Judgment Day? It just feels like Bobby has a plan B. He's either not sharing or not even dropping the crumbs for us to go, oh, I see what he's doing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Rey challenged the Street Profits to a tag team match against the LWO.
Yep. It's Fastlane, so it's next week. So yeah, sure. 6-man tag. There you go.
Then we had Bayley with Damage Control versus Charlotte Flair. We haven't seen this matchup in a while.
Sarcasm noted. For those of you guys that know me, I'm the biggest Bayley mark ever. When she was number 1 in the PWI about 3 years ago now, I bought like 5 copies. I was a hugger. I love Ding Dong Hello. Damage Control has been a step down, and I mean that in the most respectful way. Because of Dakota Kai's injury, she has to be cannon fodder. I get that. So the match was pretty much inconsequential. You know Charlotte was going to be in there, but the playing on Bayley offering up Io's title opportunity, I wonder how long Damage Control is going to last. I would love Bayley to go back to being solo. I'm not sure it's going to happen yet because Io needs a mouthpiece. So I'm actually interested in the back end of this one.
But I liked the match itself. I thought that it was nice to see them still. I mean, they always put on something good. Charlotte won. And then Bayley was telling off Charlotte about cutting the line because Charlotte wants to challenge Io at Fastlane. Asuka ran out and Bailey, because she speaks great Japanese, translated Asuka and saying it's going to be a triple threat at Fastlane with Asuka, Io Sky, and Charlotte Flair for the title.
Where's Adam Pearce? Does he agree with us? He's like, all right, it's official. And
he should have been like, I don't speak Japanese, so I think we have to trust an expert like Bailey.
Yeah, sign the contract. Who do you think wins? You think Charlotte wins this time?
Aren't we getting to? Didn't we talk about this before? I feel like this has come up. Like Charlotte's got what, 2 more title wins in her before this gets really silly.
Does it happen next week though? You think?
Maybe again. See, my answer for everything in any women's match right now for a championship is like, and then maybe Jade Cargill shows up.
Yeah, she won all the titles.
Yeah, right. That would be interesting.
Don't do it.
I know. But yeah, I don't think Charlotte should win this. I think yeah, like I don't know the perfect outcome. It'd be nice to see Io retain, but I think Io versus Bailey could be a really interesting feud if they break up Damage Control.
That's a good one. I was trying to think, is there any woman that would be in a match against Charlotte where the internet wrestling community would root for Charlotte? I guess Nia Jax, right? I mean, the only person I could think of where everyone's like, I hope Charlotte wins. But I feel like everyone piles on when Charlotte has a title match. It's like, oh no, please don't win. And when she wins, it goes, oh dang, she won.
Yeah, that's interesting. What would get people? I mean, Nia's I gotta be honest, it's a pretty good pick. At least for the IWC. And then we had the main event segment. John Cena had a travel delay, but he made it here tonight in time to sign the contract from the Bloodline for the match at Fastlane. Even without a tag partner, he was going to do it. And then, as was reported, as everyone predicted, LA Knight showed up, saved him from a beatdown from the Bloodline, signed the contract, and we're going to have LA Knight join John for that tag match at Fastlane.
Hey, John Cena taking that last Southwest airline flight to Sacramento Airport and just get there quite in time. People are saying LA Knight. That just raised the question: is LA Knight doing it for the goodness of his heart? He hates the Bloodline too, or the fact that AJ Styles had a Make-A-Wish situation? But either way, that's the match we wanted. We wanted LA Knight. He has the flavor of the month. He has a rocket. Next, we're going to find out tagging with Cena. But there's something that rubs me the wrong way, Glenn. There's something that rubs me the wrong way, and that is 2 years ago. Cena had a match against Roman and lost.
Yeah.
Why would he? He never gives up, but he's not stupid either. Like, why would he try to go after Jimmy Uso?
That would be funny if he said this. Like, I never give up, but I'm not dumb.
Yeah. I'm not going to attempt. It's going to be a great match for sure. I think LA Knight's going to have another coming out party, his 4th this year or 3rd this year.
I know, it never ends.
It never ends. But as his Bloodline story is either being stretched thin to the next major event or something big is coming, we're getting this placeholder match in the meantime.
I mean, it's really getting stretched thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also tonight, Elton Strong. # Elton Strong.
Oh man, for sure. He's on his way back.
Pretty
Rich
deadly.
Holland hates it. Rich Holland hates it.
I love that they're giving Pretty Deadly a push even during injury. That's the sign when you know that they're high on someone. That was fun. And who knows? Maybe they make a surprise appearance at Fastlane.
I don't see why not. I don't want to say it's going to be a bad show. I mean, WWE has been delivering pretty consistently, but like the hype going into Fastlane almost seems like a secondary thought. So if you give me all the surprises, like what AEW used to do, and returns and debuts, that might be enough for me to go like, oh yeah, Fastlane was worth it.
It'd be interesting if they do that, but yeah, it seems weird after like Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, like they've been treating these secondary shows pretty big time this year, as you said earlier. So
exact locations. Look, Elimination Chambers going halfway across the world. No, literally across the world.
Yeah, literally. Around the world, like Daft Punk sang about. No, I think Fastlane will be fine. I think it might surprise us being one of those really economical, like good use of time pay-per-views where it's like 2.5 hours, they give us like something solid from A to Z, doesn't overstay its welcome, and it ends up being enjoyable. But I don't know, man. I'm hyped on No Mercy tomorrow, and I liked that they were hyping No Mercy tonight during SmackDown. It was very smart.
Absolutely. That was one of the biggest gripes I had in the 1.0 era. Arguably a more sensational show. Not saying NXT 2.0 isn't good or the regular one isn't good, but that was a little more of like, you got to check this out. It was almost like its own little universe. But now we had promos and vignettes, No Mercy's being advertised, crossovers. I mean, we get people saying in the crowds. I mean, I'm not sure what NXT is going to be. Is it a third brand? Is it going to be absorbed? Is it going to be just developmental? But this is the kind of like cross-pollination I appreciate.
I think until they get that TV deal, it's a third brand.
Okay. And then after that?
After that, it's developmental.
Yeah.
Joke's on you, USA.
Right.
No takebacks. We cashed the check. Yeah, I don't know. It's an exciting time. I still think, I think Survivor Series is right around the corner, but with speculation about CM Punk, with Jade Cargill signing, like, is NXT going to be involved in Survivor Series in a way, maybe even beyond the War Games match? Like, it's I think, when Roman comes back, who's he going to defend against next? Like, Survivor Series is the journey. Like, Fastlane is just a pit stop.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Even though Survivor Series is quite literally my least favorite pay-per-view of the year.
I know.
I've said that plenty of times, but I think there's a chance.
Like, the least favorite of every pay-per-view.
Least favorite every of all time. Of all the pay-per-views WWE's ever done, Survivor Series to me has not made sense in like 15 years.
So, like, Great Balls of Fire, how many notches is that above Survivor Series?
I think it's so goofy. A Capital Punishment, Mayhem in Manchester, they're fun, but like you look at Survivor Series, the matches themselves don't really mean as much anymore. The bragging things.
Year with NXT was great.
Wasn't a mistake, an accident. It was a happy little accident. Shout to Bob Ross. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen. But that was actually the last one where it was like, dang. Or even the one with Becky versus Charlotte because of the real heat between them. And the War Games was kind of added on. I don't know what the identity is for that November pay-per-view. But I hope that people don't give up on the year and go, yeah, we're going to give you filler until January. Like, something has to be there. And there's no more TLC. There's no more Extreme Rules. There's no more Armageddon. It has to be Survivor Series. I just kind of wish it was fresh.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Nothing like CM Punk to freshen up the product.
Dude, if he does it, oh man, that'll blow the roof off things.
Shout out to Nick Hausman, who's just now like turned that into his gimmick on the Shawn Michaels call.
Nick Hausman.
Love Nick. But it's just like every question, CM Punk.
The point.
Yes. Cool people. Well, hey everybody. Have a great weekend. Flobo, where can everyone find your stuff online?
You can find me over there on that Twitter /X at Flobo Boyce, Flopito on Instagram /Threads, and of course Blue Sky at Flobo Boyce.
Does Brian Pillman Jr. show up tomorrow night at No Mercy?
I would say no because it was his first vignette. But had this been a month from now, he'd probably do the whole like, who's sitting in the audience? It's Brian Pillman Jr.
I think it's surprising. I think the audience thing is played out for NXT. I think they just got to have him run in.
And it's really run in and attack with that long
or do something.
Hair.
Yeah, just flowing. Get a fan so it's just blowing in the wind. like with just like Tawny Katane, just hair flowing, those gorgeous locks as he runs into the ring.
3-point stance, Braun Breaker. Just flick your hair and leave.
That would be amazing if he's the one that retires Braun from NXT.
Why not?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Well, everybody, you can find me online at Glenn Rubenstein. Tomorrow we're going to be tweeting along with No Mercy. Follow Wrestling Inc. for all the latest in wrestling news. We'll be back on Monday, Jack and the crew with Raw. We'll be back Tuesday, NXT, the fallout from No Mercy. And if you want to see me and Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, tune in to Gigantic Pop on Sunday, where we will not be covering The Princess Bride and They Live. No holds barred in Rocky 3.
Thanks, Storm the Castle.
Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll get you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.